Hello?
Aaron, what's happening?
Hey, what's up?
Aaron, Trevor from Left
I'm
Coast
just
Leafs.
driving around now.
You driving around?
Yeah, is this the Left Coast Leafs?
Yeah, it's Trevor, man.
Oh yeah, I've been listening to the podcast for a little while now.
Thank you, buddy. What's the origin of Nearly Toasty?
It's more of an esports kind of thing. I didn't know what to call myself, and my friend told me to call myself a toaster.
Okay.
And I didn't really want that, but I kind of just went with the toasty thing.
Nice. Did you watch the game tonight?
I watched bits of it, but of course, I think a lot of Leafs fans like myself kind of tuned off a bit when, we started getting demolished.
Yeah, I actually missed it until like the last 3 minutes. So, yeah, I guess I tweeted out. It's amazing how much less it hurts when you don't watch it. But, like, what are your impressions, man? Like, where's the responsibility lie?
I know it can be easy to blame it on Anderson in a way, seeing how he's pretty much lost. I think pretty much every start he's gotten ever since he's been off the injury, right?
Yeah.
But, there's other players out there that I feel like just aren't giving it enough to, give him the saves that he needs to make. But on the other hand, I want to see more of Campbell because, he's been playing like really good this season. And I really wanted them to start him tonight, but I don't feel like you can blame it all on Anderson, but
No.
I think he kind of needs to step it up and show us why he needs to be our starter instead of, giving Soupy a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the crazy thing is? It's like I think we all saw that tweet come out today that showed Anderson's 5-on-5 save percentage, and it was pretty grim. And like the goalies are always the last people that ultimately we want to blame, right? Like, and because it's probably the hardest job in sports. But my fucking dog's barking in the background. Jesus Christ. But if he's like 9-10, we're like in the playoffs easy, even despite all the problems we think we have with the rest of the team, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw he made a couple good saves. The last game he was standing around out there for a bit, but I saw the tweet with who was it? Oak, I think, tweeted out.
Yeah,
and,
it was him. Yeah,
and he was right down there with Michael Hutchinson.
Yeah, I think it was insane. Like Hutch was he just above or just below it?
Yeah, I don't really know what to do with Anderson because he played like perfect for like a couple of like the first games of the season, like throughout 2 months or something. He was really standing on his head for us, and now he usually gets into a little bit of a rut like this, but this has been pretty unacceptable for us to be losing to the Buffalo Sabres the same we lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that we did two such bad efforts against the Penguins. It's very frustrating. What would you? Okay, so put yourself in Dubas's shoes, but also keep your fan hat on. And like, what are you doing leading up to Monday? Like, what do you want to see happen? Are you in sort of, even if we make the playoffs, we're not doing anything mode? So kind of sell, but sell smart. Like it's we're that mushy middle, right?
Yeah, I think Dubas needs to do something just out of the blue here, and I think he's a smart enough guy to do it because like, look what he did with Jack Campbell. He's doing amazing for us. So I don't think we're gonna see anything on the trade basis, but I feel like he's gonna need to pick up a defenseman or something to get the guys out front of Anderson or whoever it is to try to pick up the pace.
Yeah. What would you do? What would you do with Tyson Barrie? I mean, we've made it no secret on the podcast that we are biased because of where he's from. He's from here, and we know him.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a business, and he's an asset. And I mean, I just feel like we still have to make better from that Kadri trade, and he's easy pickings. I think there's many teams in the Western Conference. It's so freaking tight that he makes a difference on a team that can prop him up defensively.
Yeah, I feel like it's really easy to put the blame on players right now.
Yeah.
But for Tyson Barrie, you know, he has his good games as a defenseman, and you know, sometimes you see him playing as a forward more and scoring goals and getting, you know, apples. But at the end of the day, I feel like he just needs to be a little bit more consistent, kind of like a CC thing. Like they both have their games, but when they're not having a game, they're just, you know, costing the team.
Yeah, but like Tyson's 30, man. Like he is who he is. Like you know, I mean, like I think like if you put him on Calgary, surrounded by Brody and Giordano and guys like that, he's an asset to that team's power play, and he's not going to hurt you 5-on-5 as much, right?
He's a good player.
Yeah,
I really believe he's a really good player, and
yeah.
you know, he's got the experience, but I just don't think he's becoming what we wanted him to be from the Colorado trade.
No, I know. I mean, I'm not even saying that's a bad trade. Like that's it's easy to criticize, and I mean, I think people are way more critical on Twitter than they ever could possibly be in real life, because like my real life isn't people just fucking losing their shit all the time, but Twitter is. But I think, you know, you take anybody off of Twitter and they're going to be a little bit more measured, right? And it's kind of like, I don't know. Right now I just see the Barrie situation as asset management, and I think maybe he has to sort of, maybe they just gotta like that. Like as Oak, we reference Oak. He's our oak tree. But he did like the JVR. You know, they're not getting anything from JVR, Bozak, and Komarov that year when they all walked. Like that digs into your assets, right? When guys walk like that, but you can't be seen as giving up on the team either, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, you know what, man? I appreciate you being my first caller ever on this random night. But I thought maybe we needed to get some therapy. I have someone else, I have a couple other people who want to chime in here too. So I really appreciate talking to you, man. And I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast too.
You.
All right. I might get this up tonight, but if not, tomorrow.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Okay, go, let's go, man.
Hello, Carolyn speaking.
Hey, don't you know better than to give your number to creepy men on the internet?
I know you, though. I just met you.
I know. We had, for everyone, this is Carolyn, and we actually had lunch in Toronto when I was there. What was the name of the restaurant?
Loose Moose.
Loose Moose, that's right. It was good.
Oh, yeah, man.
Good spot. How you been?
I'm pretty good, despite the Leafs, but holy crap, that was bad.
Yeah, I just talked to a caller named Aaron, and yeah, I mean, he's pretty frustrated. I mean, I kind of one of the last things I said to him was, I mean, there's a lot of people like losing their shit on Twitter, but I don't think our real lives are like that. Like if we all acted in real life like we do on Twitter, like I don't think we'd survive more than a couple of days on Earth. But
no, probably not.
we are very frustrated, right?
Oh my God!
So
me
if
included,
you could pick up,
I'm so disappointed.
What's the epicenter of your frustration right now? If you could pick one thing, and that might not even be a fair question.
Oh, it's totally a fair question. Thank you. I think it comes down to lack of maturity. If I could pinpoint one thing, just lack of maturity from most of the players there, especially the younger ones. Like, I'm disappointed in Matthews, even in Marner. I'm not seeing good communication. Their work ethic is just not there. That's what I take away from it right now.
Yeah, you know, and it was a shocking stat that came out earlier today when it listed Freddie and Hutchinson's 5-on-5 save percentage, and if like at like in the 890 range, versus like the league leaders being in the 920s, 925s range. And I was just thinking, like, it's hard to blame the goalies all the time, but if we had those saves, we wouldn't even be talking about the players. And people want to like hashtag fire Dubas, but it's such a complicated game and it's such a complicated process.
It is. You can't just fire somebody. You have to really look at what you have and what really needs the significant improvement and give people a chance to improve. But
Yeah,
I'm not a hockey player, and I'm not a manager either.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's like this team. I have two boys, and they're 24 and 25, and like everyone knows, like science says that like a male brain doesn't fully mature till it's 26, and it's true. You know what? And these guys, we're putting a shitload of responsibility on these guys, and they're all just they're all unformed people.
Exactly.
Right? So I don't know what we're supposed to expect. I mean, is it a coincidence that teams whose average age is 28 or 29 win the cup versus teams whose average age is 25 win the cup? Maybe not.
I forgot about that stat because that is absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I forgot about that because that is something that I did know, and it literally just slipped my mind. But that is absolutely true.
Yeah, I know.
Aren't the Blues an older team?
Yeah, 100%. They were. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was definitely like, I think we're one of the youngest teams in the league. And, which kind of makes it even more scary because we didn't get any of our core guys on the 8-year deal. So our window is maybe not as big as it used to be, and maybe we're not going to have a 29-year-old Austin Matthews or a 29-year-old Mitch Marner or a 29-year-old Will Nylander to go and get us a cup, right?
Maybe not with the way the cap is.
Exactly, and again, maybe they're going to want to walk. So who knows? Like, it's
that'd be really sad, but I can see that happening though.
Yeah. So what I asked Aaron before you was like, what would you like? We're in this mushy middle. What do you want to see by the trade deadline on Monday? What's like, are we buying? Are we selling? Are we what?
I did think about this while watching the game, and I'm like, what could they do? I'm like, I wouldn't mind seeing them get maybe one player. I can definitely see them getting rid of somebody, maybe Kapanen. I know that name's been thrown around a bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him go.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the fourth liners too. I wouldn't be surprised to see one of them gone. I would like to see a defenseman. Muggen's been in a bit of an improvement. He tried tonight, but just couldn't get it done. So yeah, I don't know, but that's kind of where I'm at. I would like to see some movement at the deadline. I don't know whether they really will, but yeah, I'd like to see something happen.
Yeah,
shake something up.
Like what I don't like is, like, I was all for maybe trading Kapanen or Johnson when they were both healthy. And now that one's not healthy, you only have Cappy as an option. But maybe Johnson was going to be the guy that teams wanted, right? And so all of a sudden, we're once again, which always seems to be, we're negotiating from a perceived position of weakness, right? We traded Kadri from a position of weakness. The Zaitsev trade was done from a position of weakness because of his contract, right? We have to take CC back. Like, every fucking trade we make, someone seems to have a gavel over our heads and they have the hammer on us. Like, when do we get the hammer? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's like a 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and kind of like allowing you to go forward. Like, do we have to go back in order to go forward?
Yeah, I mean,
that is a possibility, but I'd hate that.
Tampa missed the playoffs 3 years ago. I mean, incredible as it sounds today, like they had one of those glitch years, and maybe this is our glitch year where we stand pat, offload some assets at the deadline, and just reload for next year. Like, I don't know. Like it seems
I can
that
see that.
I don't know. Like it seems that the thing that comes back to haunt us all the time is that first pairing right-handed D guy, right? And like I don't even why the hell, like we all say, oh, Manson, Dumba. Why would those teams trade right-handed D guys with term? Those guys, like, they're unicorns, and like why do we always assume that those guys are actually available because we're the frickin' Toronto Maple Leafs and the sun shines out of our ass? It clearly doesn't.
No.
Right?
I mean, we don't have the clout we used to, clearly. Otherwise,
No.
we'd be getting offers. And we wouldn't feel like we have this hammer over our heads, like you said. That is absolutely a fair point.
Yeah, like stop negotiating from a point of weakness. Like that's all. Like that's kind of my point. Like I don't want to have to toss in a second round pick to make the deal. I don't want to take your shit to make the deal, right? Like no more CCs. You know, no more sweeteners, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's all really convoluted, and there really doesn't seem to be like a clear path right now. I'm wondering if Dubas can pull a rabbit out of his ass, but I highly doubt it at this point. He's dug himself into quite a hole.
Yeah, the only one that they could possibly pull out would just go all in on Alex Pietrangelo, but he's an unrestricted free agent, and with Jay Bouwmeester's unfortunate accident last week, and they want to make a cup run. Like they're not trading Pietrangelo now,
Nope.
right? Like they're not. They want to defend.
Yeah,
their
they
cup.
need him.
Yeah, they need him. So I don't know. It's frustrating. It's quite the deal, and I mean they're in a bad spot. And like as far as injuries go, like I know injuries are no excuse, but we don't have the type of team that we can backfill injured guys, and we don't have, like, and more importantly, we don't have a structure to our game where you can just pop in Joe Blow and he just goes and stands in the same spot and does a good job defensively. It's not like that.
We're not the Raptors.
We're not the Raptors. We're not the Dallas Stars. We somehow, for whatever reason, are on year 5 of no structure. And I mean that's a podcast all in itself, and like that's I don't know, that's coaching. But
Yeah,
no, it's not. I don't think it is coaching. That's what we talked about at the beginning. Like that's maturity. That's the players. But maybe you got a healthy scratch, a high profile guy to send a ripple down the team. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Because we did it with Kapanen because he was late for one of the practices.
Yeah.
And then he scratched him. We thought he was going to be traded. But we're like, no, it was just a disciplinary action.
Yeah,
like, oh.
Exactly.
Maybe it takes, like, sidelining Matthews or Marner or one of them.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Carolyn, I'm gonna maybe try and get onto some other calls here if anybody texts in. Some people want to talk to me on Instagram, but I don't want to do that. I guess I could, but then I'd have to change my setup. But
maybe.
Yeah, maybe I could be a nice guy, but maybe I'll give it a shot. All right. Well, you take care.
Thank you so much for calling. This is great.
Plug your music.
Thank you. Oh, plug my music. My stuff's available on Bandcamp. I'm also in a contest. Please vote for me if I make it to the second round tomorrow.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Talk to you later, Carolyn.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Kyle Dubas, we need a D-man.
Pardon?
Kyle Dubas, we need a D-man.
Yeah, my name's Wayne.
Wayne, how's it going, man?
Not bad, you?
Good. Where are you calling from? Where am I calling you from? Where are you?
Cambridge.
Cambridge, Ontario?
Yeah.
What do you got to say for yourself?
Well, Muzzin wasn't wrong tonight on the post-game conference there.
I didn't see the comment. What was it?
Well, it's just everything's wrong right now. A lot of skill, but the compete level's not there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's not wrong. Do you feel Do you feel like if Freddie had a 920 5-on-5 save percentage that we wouldn't even be hearing any of this stuff? You saw that stat earlier today, right?
Yeah, but I'm a believer that the goalie's a product of what's in front of you, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't always blame it on the goalie, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So what happened tonight? 3 cross-crease passes, defense looking the other way, sticking in the wrong position.
Yeah, I defended Hutchinson for a long time before it was, kind of indefensible, right?
I don't think, even if they had the 6th best defenseman in the league, it would help Hutch.
No, I guess we'll see. He might get another shot somewhere else, but yeah, I mean, maybe his best days are behind him, and I was being a little bit Pollyanna about that. But what do you want to see before Monday? Where are you at with the trade deadline?
I want to see Tyson Berry gone.
Yeah.
And another big body like Muzzin that can stop the cycle.
Yeah. I always refer back to the type of player that is getting kind of weaned out of the game. I always go back to Washington's cup run, and as each round passed, Brooks Orpik became more and more important.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't call you on shit, especially when you have kind of a reputation and you have that veteran presence. You're kind of grandfathered in with an old rule book, and you can bury a guy with a cross check, take the puck late in the game when the refs are putting the whistles in their pocket and no one's going to call you. And I mean, I think those guys still have a place in like the championship rounds of the NHL, whether you think it's fair or not, right? It's called differently.
Yeah, like Kyle Dubas wants puck moving D that can get it up the zone quick.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the guy to go along the boards and get it out, you're not getting that opportunity.
No, and I think that's coming clear. And you know what? I'm optimistic because I think we saw a bit of a give and take, maybe a bit of a give with him by taking Clifford. Right? Like maybe even he's seeing the fact that there's maybe more of a balance required than he was hoping or thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what did I haven't looked at. Oh, it's only 7:30 here now, so the Anaheim Florida game's just getting underway. But you know what? I'm not even I'm not even scoreboard watching. There's enough to worry about with this team. I mean, I think Florida is probably going to be as inconsistent as us down the stretch here, and it's just it's just a matter of giving an effort, giving a good effort, trying to maybe play some structure. I don't know, man.
Well, I don't know. I think they need some bigger bodies on the back end.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I'm not old, but I'm not young, and so I sit on the fence a lot, and I kind of almost lean towards the more progressive side of the game. But even when guys like Zach Bogosian go on waivers, or when guys like Eric Goodbranson are kicking around and people are railing against those guys on Twitter and stuff like that, I'm like, you know what, man? Like, just what you're saying, the Brooks Orpik factor, right?
Like, what do we have right now? We got Riley, Dermott, Barry, Sandine,
Liljegren, Marinson, Muzzin.
Liljegren, they're all the same player pretty much.
Yeah, with the exception of Muzzin, we have 5 of the same player. And I mean, and I like Muzzin, but I think there's a bit of a beard factor with Muzzin. Like he's not as rough and tumble as people think he is. I mean, I do like his game, but I think there's a bit of a fucking beard factor there, like that people kind of have this perception that he's maybe tougher than he is.
Well, when he gets the opportunity, he can really lay a guy out, but I think he's not doing it because he's asked to play a different way.
Yeah, no, he definitely has to be the voice of reason back there in a decor.
Well,
of
I
running
think
gun
that's
guys.
why he's not taking as many runs at people and stuff.
Yeah, he can't put himself out of position, and he's a smart player. He's been there. He's gone 4 rounds in the playoffs, right? Like he kind of knows. And
you look last year when he first came, right? He did it at least once a game for the first little bit, and then it slowly disappeared.
Yeah, no, exactly, right. So, I mean, he's playing to the situation, and I think he would be an outstanding top 4 defenseman for us if our top 4 was, I mean, Riley, Petrangelo, Muzzin, and other guy, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's kind of what wins championships.
Like, I don't get a lot of chance to see Josh Manson, rather from Anaheim.
Right.
Everyone's high on him right now.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him a lot, and the thing, like, and I'm kind of, I've thought this myself, but I did have it reinforced on Overdrive today, and it was like, why do we even assume right-handed D-men with term are even available? Why would teams trade them just for Kasperi Kapanen? Like, does that make Minnesota better tomorrow? No, it doesn't. Right?
Well, it would make Anaheim better, right?
It might make Anaheim better. Yeah, I mean, they're okay, but still, why would
pretty much old and slow right now.
Yeah. Why would you make? But if you're Anaheim, why would you trade that? Like, why would you trade the biggest unicorn in the NHL outside of a solid starting goalie as a right-handed defenseman, right? Like, I think we kind of we pick our targets and we say we want that guy, but like, are they really? I mean, are they really available? I don't know. Like,
the D-man I want most, if we could get him, would be Ristolainen from Buffalo.
Yeah. He always plays well when I watch him, for sure.
Like, he's mean, he can hit, and he can play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I mean, those interdivisional, interconference trades are tough to pull off unless someone's like clearly selling. And I don't know if Buffalo is going to be clearly selling or not, but yeah. Anyway, Wayne, what do you think? Is this team making the playoffs or what?
If they do, it comes down to the last couple games.
Yeah, like I think I tweeted out like last week, like they're gonna make it or miss it by 2 points. We just don't know which 2 points.
Yeah.
You know, we just don't know which like shitty game they should have had is going to be the one that we're going to look back and regret. Probably 15 of them, honestly. But yeah.
I think
all right.
They should have kept running with Campbell too.
Yeah. You know what? I think we're near that point where you got to run with the hot hand. Like if he goes in Thursday, there's no chance that Freddie can possibly play Thursday. I don't think. You don't put him in that position. But if Campbell somehow plays better, I think he's kind of the number one for right now.
Yeah, and then we got a hamburger story. Yeah,
exactly. Well, I mean, I harken back to when Washington won again, and Holtby actually didn't start the playoffs as a starter.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, this is the business of winning. And I think maybe up until now, the learning curve for Dubas has been like you kind of gotta put your feelings on the shelf. He tried to be a good dude and trade Levo because Babcock was fucking him around a bit. Well, maybe that's you got to shelf your feelings. These guys are assets. They're well compensated assets, and you got to just it's the winning business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Wayne. Great chatting with you, man.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
Yeah. Okay. Go, Leafs, go.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Trevor from the Left Goal Seas podcast here.
Oh, just funny.
You gave me your number. I'm going to call you, man.
Oh, I appreciate that.
But I don't know.
Holy
I
man.
don't know whether I should talk Riders or Leafs with you. What would you rather talk about? I'm staring at my Darian Durant jersey hanging in my studio here.
Are you a big Riders fan too?
Born and raised in Regina, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Where are you right now?
I got season tickets.
Oh, fuck yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I had them when I lived there. But so you live right in Regina?
Oh God, no! I drive 3.5 hours for every game.
Oh, where do you live?
Rosetown.
Rosetown. Nice. Excellent. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I have all my families in Regina still. I'm the only one that fled.
You're the one that got away.
Yeah, exactly. But I still like going back, and I think I might. Yeah, I have to say, but I would love to go back for Grey Cup. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Well, if you're ever in Regina, hit up my DMs and we'll tailgate a little bit and we'll introduce you to a rowdy crowd. Where
Absolutely, I'd love that. But tonight, sorry, I want to get your name. Sorry,
it's Logan.
Logan.
Yeah.
Nice. So, what's your feelings after that game?
Oh, I don't know. Where do you begin, man? Where do you begin?
Yeah.
It was evident from the start that Fred wasn't on. Like that giveaway was about 3 minutes in that he just choked up. Luckily, that didn't go in.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no heart. It's just like it's the most skilled Leaf team. Like I'm 26 years old. This is the most skilled Leaf team of my lifetime.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, the most frustrating team since like 2007. Like I don't know. Like God, I don't even know if it was like I remember like 2003 or 4 when we probably should have made it to the Cup final. Like good teams.
Mm-hmm.
This is more frustrating.
What's like? Is there a fix between now and Monday?
Oh, I think Barry shipped to the moon.
Well, I mean,
I just don't think this is the team that's going to win. So you might as well not JVR it and get assets for it.
Okay, so you live in Saskatchewan, so you're a good guy to talk to about this because you see a lot of Western Conference teams. You get the Calgary and Edmonton games, so you see a lot of those teams. I think there's with that playoff race being so tight in the West, especially the Pacific, I think there's a team that Tyson Barrie can help with his skill set on the power play and still put them
100%.
over the top. Like imagine, like I even made this reference to somebody one time. Like, I mean, how much better could Edmonton's power play be with Tyson Barrie? Right? Like I don't know what the take back would be. Maybe we take back Adam Larson.
Sure. That would be a gift.
I know, but you know what? Like those teams are looking for an edge right now, right?
Yeah.
And
but, is Edmonton actually going to ship Adam Larson or Tyson Barrie?
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe we got to send him Dermott too. Like I don't like, and then maybe other players. Maybe it's a multiplayer deal. Or how protected would he be on Calgary with Brody and Giordano and those guys, right? Like he needs insulation, but he can help you in his own really skillful way, right?
Yeah, he can't be a number. Right now, we're using him as a number 1, and it's tough. It's ugly.
Yeah, it's not a good situation that way. So,
Jake Muzzin is playing unbelievable hockey right now.
Yeah, he's on an island.
Sandin has 3 good shifts and 1 bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Dermott is a shell of himself last year. Like I thought, like coming this season that Dermott is a core piece going forward, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think like it's all just like with defense in the NHL. It's all just about those extra 4 or 5 minutes you might force a guy to play against better competition each night. I mean, it's an extremely slotted position, right? Like if once you're a little bit out of your element, you're hurting the team, and that's kind of where Dermott is right now. Like he isn't, like he's probably a good 4, 5, 6 guy, but as a 4, he has a really good partner, right?
Yeah, I think honestly, you look into this offseason, he needs to put on probably 15 pounds.
Yeah, he does look a little slight out there. He's probably got to hit the gym, maybe get some Gary Roberts action going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Leafs should quit. They should pay Gary Roberts, give him a blank check, and not let him help other teams.
Yeah. I mean, they can afford it. I mean, you know what? I mean, when there's a salary cap, but you can help your players other ways, that's how you do it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think they're going to make it? Do you want them to make it? Like,
Oh God, yeah. There's no tradition like the Leafs losing out on my first round on my birthday, so it's been that way every year of my life. So
that's how you celebrated your birthday.
Every year, yeah, almost every year.
Well, so what? You're around April 22nd or something like that?
2 years ago, they won, and I thought it was going to be different, and then they went and laid a stinker the Jake Gardiner game in Game 7.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man. So, do we officially have a goaltending controversy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The Saskatchewan Leafs group chat that we're in it's fired up. Like,
yeah.
How can you be 59th?
I know.
59th
Is
in save percentage 5-on-5.
Is that a Facebook group or something?
No, it's just a iMessage group I started.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we have a Leafs Nation in BC Facebook group. There's about 400 people in it. That's good.
It's a good place to go and vent. I don't know what people did before, like iPhone group messages or Facebook. They just stewed in their basement and drank rum till the wee hours in the morning and then went to work.
I think we were happier, right?
Probably happier.
Like
you get less negative, but they're also the right ideas.
Well, I didn't watch the game. I had to work later tonight, so I didn't watch the game, and I had zero stress about the outcome. But if
I'm doing that Thursday. I'm boycotting it outright.
But if I sat there,
my son to the lake.
Yeah. But if I sat there and live tweeted it, I'd have been freaking out.
Yeah, I'm not much. Yeah, I usually tweet at the intermissions, but I just cannot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, we did expect more this year. I don't know what it is. I still think. I think so. There's just a structural deficiency, a lack of accountability or responsibility. Like all these teams can tighten up their play. We're in year 5 of not being able to. I don't understand. I don't understand why we can't button down a game. You know.
We say we can't button down the game, but then we're 22-4 or something with a third period lead. You're a lead going into the third period.
So what? So you know that what's that tell you? Like, it's you know, every team has their positive and negative stats. It's fucking goaltending. Like I'm sorry,
goaltending.
It's not to say that they need to blame all the time, but it's pitching, right? Like it's pitching in baseball. That's what it is. And
quarterback play when it's the Riders on it, or when it's any other team.
In football, exactly. I mean, it's the most important position in the sport. All 31 teams are built a little bit differently and are good and bad in different ways. And it's kind of goaltending. And like my last caller said, there is a difference in the quality of shots and the kind of stuff that the Leafs do allow. I mean, they don't set their goalies up to succeed sometimes as much as we need them to. So, but you know, if Freddie is rocking last year's save percentage, we're probably 8 or 10 points up on Florida right now.
Oh, I guess we're at least 12 up on Florida.
Yeah.
Like Boston is built. Tampa's a machine. Like there's no doubt about it. But Boston's built on 5 guys.
Yeah.
And the first guy that doesn't get talked about is Tuukka Rask, who's having his umpteenth greatest season again, just doesn't quit.
Yeah.
And we traded that guy, which is, like, we're not going to win until that guy retires or dies.
Exactly. Yeah. I know.
It's so frustrating.
I know. So do you think that I think 100% they're accepting calls on Barrie, obviously.
I think that's pretty evident after like this morning, just following the Leaf Twitter thread, and in fact, Drager's full of shit, anyways. But he tweeted that somebody phoned Dubas about Barrie from the Western Conference.
Of course.
I don't believe the word Gregor says.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not doing your job if you don't call him about Barrie, right? But I just because I think it would look like such, even though it would be the right thing to do, it would come across as such a giving up move because. I mean, and I would think differently if Riley was there. But at this point, you are trading your number one defenseman in the middle of a tight playoff race. With like warts and all, you're still trading your number one defenseman, right? I don't know. It's confusing.
Yeah, I guess so, but like you could argue that 1A, 1B has over the last 15 games has been Muzz and Sandin.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Like, why not just if we know that Barry's 5-on-5 efficiency is horrendous. Why are we still putting him out there? Why is his power play efficiency is like -8 or something like that? Like, it's awful with him out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys, a lot of good Leaf fans on Twitter who tweet those advanced analytics stuff that I don't really understand, but they kind of dumb it down. But the puck's on his stick on the power play. There's a more likely chance of going in our net than theirs.
That's not good.
And that's alarming.
That's not good.
That's on the power play.
Yeah, I know. Well, bouncing back on Thursday or more of the same?
Well, I think it'd be it has to be a better effort. I don't see us blowing them out by any means, but like we've done all season, some cheeky overtime win probably is how it's going to be.
Just got to pick up points somehow. Pick up points.
I gotta ask you a question. What's your thoughts on Tavares this season? Disappointing or just kind of what we was last year, an anomaly of production, or is it like actually, the point per game player? Is that what we paid for, or what?
Yeah, well, Sean and I kind of have a little bit of a Tavares thing going on off air. Like I never want to put on Twitter, because I'm the guy that tweets. I never want to put on too much criticism of Tavares because you're just not allowed to yet. And,
no, God, no. I love the guy.
Yeah, I mean, and we can't
too much hate on him. I'll send you a pic later this week. I built kind of shrine in my corner of the guy who came home, like my basement. I got a painting of Tavares when he was introduced as captain. I just bought his the $300 player jersey because I love the guy.
Yeah,
I can't stand the Twitter. I just can't stand the hate of him because he's the guy who came home. Like, this is what we've been begging for.
Yeah.
And what it's been 130 games, and we're already caving on the guy.
Yeah, I think there was something going on at the start of the season, and he in the last 2 weeks he got more jump and he started shooting harder after that hand injury, which was good. But I want him to be the difference more often in some games. And I guess the defense to him is last year he had Hyman and Marner. This year he hasn't. But who
needs to play with him then? Who needs to play? I think you got to leave Willie there, but then who plays with him?
Well,
there's Kerfoot's. Geez, you might as well have my grandma on the wing. If she could skate that fast, she's not going to take it. She takes a hit and gives a hit as much as he does.
See, and as good a season as Willie is having, Willie doesn't make other players better.
Oh, right? God, no.
So he's not helping Tavares, and I mean, I guess we can always just cry over spilt milk, but I mean, I think Mikheyev and JT would be awesome together. I think right now Mikheyev would have over 20 goals if he didn't get hurt. He was just coming on so hard, and
he's an incredible find.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be a 30-goal scorer in this league for a lot. I think he's got to be included in the core.
I think
5 4.
Absolutely, and I thought like Engvall had a good bump at the start, and I'm not down on him because he's just playing down in the lineup, but I think. If you played him with better players, you might see a better result. And you could say that about a lot of guys, but I think he actually would be. I think the team would be better if he was up there maybe more.
So, if we're not going to get a lot of those guys back, do you move Hyman back down with JT and Willie, and move Engvall back up with Marner and Matthews?
I
don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
because we got one line going. We might keep him.
Yeah, like honestly, like I don't know what the answer is for Tavares. I mean, he'll be a good matchup guy if the playoffs, if we get in the playoffs, and he'll find his way. He does a lot of little things, and at that price, we need him to do some big things, but he needs some help too. I don't know. It's just everything's just weird right now.
It's definitely weird. Like even going into this game, I wasn't excited because I knew how I was going to feel at the end of the game. And just holding my son, drinking rum, and watching the Montreal Canadiens blow a 3-1 lead, which is kind of fun.
That's kind of sweet. Yeah. All right. Well, I got to move on here, Logan. Thank you very much for sending me your number. It's good chatting.
Call anytime, man.
All right, man. Where I'll be. Go Leafs, go Riders.
Go Leafs, go Riders. Take care, better.
See ya. Justin, what's up, buddy?
Trying to decide how to feel after that. Like, I got back from the gym, and it was 2-0 going into the second.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like, it's Pittsburgh. This can happen. But, I mean, like, our guys can fill the net. So, like, I was like, it's not a big deal. Then I was walking into my house and got the update that it was 3-0. And then what really killed it for me was the 5-on-3 not scoring and then giving up the goal like 5 seconds after that ended. And then at that point, I just turned it off, took a shower, came back in, and was just hoping maybe. Then, of course, they do the thing they do each game. They score 2 goals to kind of bring, it back in. I started to feel like, okay, like, maybe this team can come back. And then it was just like, it's kind of, how their, like, seasons go.
Yeah.
Like, they start either good or bad. Then they kind of do something, like, to kind of feel like, okay, well, like, they're there. And I was like, okay, they get a chance to come back. And then it was just, like, the same old, like, Leafs. They just can't score. The defense just doesn't play well. Like, they can't, like, control the puck. As I've said a bunch on, like, Twitter, I feel personally like it can't just be the coaching. No. Yeah, they got themselves into a big hole, but it's like it hasn't really gotten better since Keefe took over. They got that good bump that they had, but then since then it's kind of like the same as like Babcock.
Yeah.
So I just can't figure out if it's like the injuries or if like they just need that one extra piece.
I think it's injury. I think it's injury. Injuries are a big factor. I know that everyone says you're not supposed to use injuries as an excuse, but I think when you have a team like the Leafs that don't play with structure, you need your good players just to freelance, and so when they start dropping, and you insert worse players can play structure, but they can't ad lib like we need our guys to do, right? So like the D is suffering way more because Barry's just a good, or Riley's just a good player. So we need good players because we don't have structure, and I think that's got to change.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like, and then of course the problem is like all of our kind of like, trade bait is either gone or like hurt. Like Janssen, like we can't really trade him because he's hurt now. Like, he could have brought us something.
I know.
Back. Well, I thought the trade the more trade to get the backup, like I thought, could have turned them, but then like they just get more guys hurt after that, and then it's kind of back to square one.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, exactly.
And I've kind of grown up near like Boston, so I like see how they do it.
I was gonna ask. I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, they get those guys that they're not big. They're not. Big like star guys, but they'll come. DeBrusque before he was DeBrusque, like he scored those 2 goals in Game 7, and I think it was 2017.
2018 actually. Yeah.
When it was the season like Cappy had the breakaway goal to put him up, and then DeBrusque scored like twice in the third period. And And then, like, they get those guys. I mean, like, they're just, like, they're not stars. They're just, like, gritty third and fourth line guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they grow up in Charlestown. Their dad works the Garden crew. And, like,
yeah.
Like, it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same story every year. They just get these guys. I mean, I joke too. I mean, like, my friends, like, all the time. I mean, like, I kind of feel that, I mean, like, each kid that grows up in, like, Charleston will score a big goal for the Bruins. I mean, like, in Game 7, like, I just feel like it just happens. Like,
yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, like, they got to try to tap into that kind of guy, and I just don't know how they get it. Like, if it's, I mean, like.
Well, I mean, I think, like Steve Dangle jokes about this on Twitter when they joke that these like guys with funny names just pop into the Penguin lineup and contribute, right? And that's the thing. Like, that's what we don't. We have some guys with funny names who aren't very good, but they can't pop into our system because we don't have one. And then they can pop into the Pittsburgh system because they have one. They can pop into the Bruins system because they have one, right? And St. Louis and Dallas and so on down the line. All the teams that clog up our neutral zone. Well, why can't we fucking clog up someone else's neutral zone for once, right?
Exactly.
So I mean that's that's got to be, as much as we love our run and gun hockey. Like my wish is boring as shit hockey.
Yeah, I mean, like, this, like, style. I've heard it either on you guys' podcast or the guys James and the guy that do that podcast.
Yeah, Leaf Report.
Yeah.
Myrtle.
They
and Jonas
said
Siegel.
like Dubas, he's got the right mindset. It's too soon for this style to work. I mean, like, this style is going to work in 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just they've got – the problem is, like, they're too many – or they're not – I mean, they're soft. I mean, like, there's no – they're just a soft team. I mean, like, I see guys get hit, and there's nobody on our team that can jump in and, like, defend I mean, like, Marner, Hughes, JT.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
it's just, like, seeing other teams. Like, it's just, like, our team's soft.
Yeah, I mean, and the league has to allow that style of play to flourish in the playoffs one day, and it may never do it. And my concern is that time is not on our side because we didn't lock our guys up for 8 years. We locked them up for 5, and that clock is ticking. Like, we don't have time to figure it out. Like, this year, okay, maybe this year's a mulligan, but next year it's all in. It's got to be all in for every one of Matthews' last few years here, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, that's what I've said. I'm like, I mean, at the start of the year, I mean, I had gotten so anti-Cappy trade, but now it's kind of like, if they have to trade Kapanen to get a good defender or to get, like, a solid backup, like, I mean, like, they got to do it. Like, I mean, like, it'd be kind of like, oh, well, like, it'd be cool if, like, he wins a cup, but it's like, if he's the piece that brings us the cup, like, I mean...
No, I hear you.
That would happen. I mean, like, again, like, I've been in, like, Boston, so I mean, like, or near Boston, so I've, like, I mean, like, seen them deal with, like, the Kessel trade, the Sagan trade. I mean, like, all that, like, it's just like, they handle it bad at first, and then it's like, oh, well, here's, like, 2 cups. Like,
yeah, I know, right?
Here's 2 deep playoff runs. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, it's just insane to. I don't understand why, like, we can't do that. Like, our talent's the same on paper. Like,
it sucks, man. So just quickly before we go here, like, you live in Maine.
Yeah.
How did you become a Leaf fan?
I grew up in, like, northern Vermont, so I got a bunch of the Canada broadcasts, and it was kind of they were on all the time. Toronto, Montreal, I would watch those games, and my dad's a Bruins fan, so, like, he hated Montreal. So I was like, okay, I'll just, like, cheer for Toronto, and it was just fun to watch him. Like, it was just fun to watch him play.
Right on.
And so I just, and then I'd say when I was, like, right around 2013 was when I really got big into hockey. So their first, like, big playoff that I saw, and it was just, my friends were all, like, I mean, like, Boston fans, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll just, like, cheer for the opposite team. because I didn't, like, have a favorite, or, not kind of like a huge fan as I am now.
Yeah.
I couldn't really get all their games because back then they didn't like have like the Reddit streams so like I just kind of got to like watch bits and pieces.
Okay.
And then like, so that's kind of how that happened. And then I'd say when I was in high school, my friend, he came to college from Canada and like he was a huge fan. And like I would just like, like he bought me my first jersey, which was pretty cool. It was a Phil Kessel one after that trade. And then it was just, I'd spend time with him and just like, it was just cool. So that's kind of how that came about. And then
right on.
It's been like up and down since then, I guess. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I'm gonna sign off here. So I'm gonna sign off on the air, but stay on Instagram here for a second, okay?
Okay.
All right. So good talking to you, man. And I think you might be my last call of the night here, but we'll see what else comes in. So go Leafs, go.